Welcome back, you guys. And Hassan Whiteside had his most disappointing season with the Miami Heat since he got signed in 2014. Hassan had an interesting NBA journey from when he was drafted in 2010. He went from playing in the D League for a number of years to finishing third in Defensive Player of the Year voting in 2016. Hassan was somebody who was not mature enough to play in the NBA when he was a rookie, to becoming somebody who did a lot of dirty work for the Heat a few years later. But in the year 2018, Hassan has been benched in fourth quarters. He has publicly complained multiple times about his lack of minutes, and because of that, his future with the Miami Heat is uncertain. He was pretty much a non-factor in the Heat series against Philly, and he's been brought up in trade rumors. Let's briefly go over his rise on the Miami Heat and what is happening with his career at this moment. Hassan Whiteside was somebody who rose from the bottom of the NBA, so his current situation right now makes it interesting for me to talk about. When he was drafted by the Sacramento Kings, he wasn't mature and physically ready for the NBA. D-League scouts said that the reason why Hassan Whiteside's time with Sacramento failed was that he did not work on his conditioning and he did not have a sense of urgency as an NBA player. But after becoming more mature and working his way through the D-League, he eventually got signed by the Heat in 2015 and made an immediate impact for a Heat team that needed depth in the front court. In the 2014-2015 season, he finished third in Most Improved Player voting and got even more dominant in the 2016 season. Whiteside led the NBA in blocks and was on the NBA's all-defensive second team. Whiteside's shot blocking and ability to create havoc got him a 4-year, $98 million contract with the Heat in the summer of 2016. It looked like he was going to be the center of the future and possibly make an all-star team, but that is not how the story went. This has been his worst season in points, rebounds, blocks, and minutes since the 2014-2015 year, and part of the reason why his stats were so low was because he was dealing with injuries. He missed 28 games this year because of a bone bruise in his left knee and because of a strained hip flexor. Another reason why his minutes were so low this year was because of the acquisition of Kelly Olynyk and Bam Adebayo. Olynyk at the power forward, he is able to stretch the floor to the three-point line, which is something Hassan cannot do. A lot of times during the year, Hassan would just check out in the middle of a game and not play with much effort, so Spo would bring in Bam. Dwayne Wade said in an interview that Hassan sometimes just goes through the motions, but when he's engaged and into it and wants to do what Hassan does, he's one of the most dominant centers in our game. And that is exactly the problem with Hassan. He doesn't play engaged all the time, so you never know what you're going to get from him on a night-to-night basis. After not playing in the final 21 minutes in a game against the Nets on April 1st, Hassan said that it was BS that he didn't play in the second half, and he criticized Spo's decision to the media. Hassan said, "Man, it's annoying, you know. Why we matching up? We got one of the best centers in the league. Why we matching up? A lot of teams don't have a good center." The Nets went to a really small lineup with Rondae Hollis-Jefferson at center, so the Heat adjusted their lineups in the second half to match Brooklyn. Whiteside ended up getting fined by the Heat the next day, and then the day after that, he actually said he regretted making those comments. Hassan says that he got caught up in wanting to be on the court rather than trusting Spo's decision to have him sit. Spo and Hassan had a short talk about it and they moved on. But that wasn't the end of his disagreements about playing time. Just 2 weeks ago during the first round series versus Philadelphia, Hassan only played 15 minutes per game and played in just 10 minutes in the final game of the series. Going into that series, a lot of people, including myself, thought Whiteside would play better because theoretically, he has the physical tools to make it tough for Joel Embiid. But that did not happen. He barely played because he got into foul trouble. The Sixers played Ilyasova at center, which takes Hassan away from the basket, and outside of Game 4, he did not look engaged on the court. Hassan was very disappointed he didn't play much in the final game. He understood Spo's decision, but he felt that they should have given him more time on the court. This was supposed to be the perfect series for Hassan. Him and Embiid have gotten into it with the trash talk over the years, so you'd think Hassan would be super active on the court trying to outplay Embiid, but it did not turn out that way. He was a non-factor. A lot of news about Whiteside has come out in the past week. A report came out a week ago that the Heat are looking to explore trades involving Whiteside. Pat Riley said that he wants to help Whiteside, but first he has to help himself. Because of the way basketball is changing for big men every year, Whiteside has to adjust. Riley is quoted saying, "By the time we got to the playoffs, I don't think he was ready. He wasn't ready. He wasn't in great shape. He wasn't fully conditioned for a playoff battle mentally. He and we got our heads handed to us." Hassan is 28, so he's not too old, but he's not at the point in his career where other teams can say he has long-term potential. I saw some people saying on Twitter that Hassan is going to be out of the league soon like Roy Hibbert, and I understand the comparisons, but that's even kind of disrespectful to Roy Hibbert. Hibbert legitimately bothered LeBron and Wade when they tried attacking the basket for 3 straight postseasons. Whiteside never had that impact like Hibbert. But I get why people are saying that. He just did not look good on the court at all this year. When teams go small or have a 3-point shooting center on the floor, Hassan is not as effective. To be fair, Hassan was dealing with injuries and he still has 2 years left on his contract. He has the skill set to be a 30-minute per game player at the center position. He's somebody that can block shots, run the floor, and rise for alley-oops. That's a valuable skill set in today's NBA, but the question is, can Whiteside sustain that over a 82-game season without checking out? His weakness as a shooter and his inability to defend out on the perimeter is a major issue, but again, he can't overcome that by staying engaged. And that is it for Hassan's career as of now. What do you guys think of Hassan's future in the league? I think maybe a change of scenery would be best for him. There are a few teams that could use a better center like Milwaukee. Maybe Hassan just doesn't fit in with Miami anymore. Maybe he'll do better on a different team, and maybe the injuries and the inconsistent minutes factored in. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens once the 2018-2019 season starts. I still think he has a chance to get back to that borderline all-star level like he was back in 2016, but he's going to have to prove himself all over again. The Heat gave him that huge contract back in 2016 because it looked like he was only going to get better, but he has only flattened out since. I appreciate it if you made it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed even one part, definitely drop a like as it helps my channel grow. We're pretty close to 150k subs. My next video will be about Paul George's free agency, so I'll see you guys then.